Castor oil penetrates deeper than any other oil, and wherever it penetrates it can break up lumps, bumps, adhesions. So great for cysts in the breast, for breast cancer, great for irritable bowel, great for constipation. It's very good at breaking up stones in the gallbladder, kidney stones, bone spurs. If the bone spur has been there 3 years, it might take 3 months. If the bone spur's been there 3 months, it might take 3 weeks. Little by little, the body heals.
933 Daltons. Write that number down somewhere. It's the main reason castor oil never worked the way you thought it should. Your skin has a natural rule. It won't let anything larger than 500 Daltons get through. Castor oil is 933 Daltons, almost twice that limit. Every time you rubbed it onto your face, your scalp, or your sore joints, it just sat there on top. It stayed on the outer layer of dead skin, trapped dirt underneath, and blocked tiny openings you didn't even know you had. Then you washed it off the next morning, believing it had been doing something helpful. It hadn't. Not one drop ever made it down to living skin cells, no matter how many weeks or months you kept trying. And somehow, people blame the oil for not working. Now think about a 78-year-old woman I know. She uses the same bottle you can pick up at any grocery store. Same brand, same cold-pressed organic label, same cheap price you see on the shelf. But here's the difference. Her skin is noticeably firmer than women 20 years younger who come to see me. Aching knees that kept her up at night for 9 whole years, completely gone. Hair started growing back in spots where her skin doctor had already said nothing would ever grow again. Same exact oil, same molecular size, but a totally different outcome. What's her secret? She knows 7 simple things that most people have no clue about. Every single one changes how that oil acts on your skin at the deepest level. Things like how warm the oil is, when you put it on, what you mix it with, how long you leave it, how much pressure you use, and the order you do things in. These 7 small changes are what finally push the oil past the outer barrier and into the living tissue underneath, where it can actually do what you bought it for. Most people just pour it out at room temperature, rub it onto dry skin, and leave it sitting there all night on top of dead cells. That isn't real care. That's just coating the surface with something that never sinks in. In this video, we'll go through all 7 secrets, starting with the least helpful and ending with the one that makes the biggest difference. And don't skip ahead, because number 3 is the mistake that almost everybody makes without realizing it. Fix just that one thing, and you will immediately see your skin soak up more oil than before. Number 7, never use castor oil straight from the bottle. This is one of the biggest mistakes seniors make, and it quietly ruins their results. You take the bottle from your bathroom shelf or medicine cabinet, pour some into your hands, and apply it directly to your skin or joints. It feels thick and cool, and you assume that's normal. The problem is that cold castor oil works against you. At room temperature, castor oil is extremely thick. Scientists call this viscosity. Research published in the Journal of Oleoscience measured castor oil at various temperatures and found that at 25 degrees Celsius, or roughly 77 degrees Fahrenheit, its viscosity is around 650 centipoise. That's even thicker than honey. Your skin already acts as a protective barrier, designed to keep substances out. When a heavy cold oil is placed on the surface, the molecules move slowly and stay clumped together, making absorption much harder. Things change when the oil is warmed to around 40 to 45 degrees Celsius, or approximately 104 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, its viscosity drops by nearly half. The molecules move more freely, spread more evenly, and become easier for the skin to absorb. This matters even more for older adults because aging skin produces less oil and holds less moisture than younger skin. Absorption is already more difficult, so every advantage helps. The process is simple. Pour the amount of castor oil you need into a small glass bowl. Place that bowl inside a larger bowl filled with hot tap water. Do not use boiling water and do not microwave the oil. Let it warm gently for 3 to 4 minutes. This method heats the oil evenly while helping preserve its beneficial compounds. Microwaving can create hot spots that may damage ricinoleic acid, the compound most people are interested in when using castor oil. Once the oil feels comfortably warm on the inside of your wrist, similar to testing a baby bottle, it's ready to use. Apply it to the desired area, and you'll notice it spreads more easily and feels less greasy. Now let's move to a tip that most people never think about, and it has nothing to do with the oil itself. It has to do with when you use it. Number 6, use it before bed, not during the day. Most seniors apply castor oil in the morning because that's when they follow the rest of their routine. Maybe it's after breakfast or after a shower. It seems like the logical choice, but research suggests it's the least effective time. Your body follows a 24-hour cycle known as the circadian rhythm. This internal clock influences much more than sleep. It affects skin repair, blood circulation, and how receptive your cells are to nutrients and topical treatments. A major study published in Cell Reports in 2020 found that skin regeneration reaches its highest point between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. During those hours, the skin shifts into repair mode. Blood flow increases, cell turnover speeds up, and the skin barrier becomes slightly more receptive to absorption. For older adults, this is particularly important because the body's repair processes naturally slow with age. Applying castor oil at night means you're working alongside your body's natural schedule instead of fighting against it. The ricinoleic acid found in castor oil is absorbed more efficiently during this nighttime repair period. Research from the British Journal of Dermatology found that topical products applied before sleep reached concentrations up to 45% higher in deeper skin layers compared with identical products applied during the morning. Think about what that means. Same oil, same amount, same person, yet significantly greater absorption simply because of timing. The routine is straightforward. About 30 minutes before bedtime, warm your castor oil using the method from tip number 7. Apply it to the area you're focusing on, whether that's your skin, abdomen, or joints. Then cover the area with a soft cotton cloth to protect your bedding. As you sleep, the warmth from your blankets helps maintain a favorable temperature for absorption. Instead of getting only a short period of contact during a busy morning, the oil remains in place for 7 to 8 hours. You're giving the oil an entire night to do its work. Number 5, choose wool flannel instead of cotton. If you've ever researched castor oil packs, you've probably seen people use whatever material happens to be nearby. Old t-shirts, cotton towels, paper towels, or even plastic wrap. While any covering is better than none, the fabric you choose can make a significant difference. Wool flannel has long been considered the preferred option, and there are practical reasons for that. Edgar Cayce, one of the earliest supporters of castor oil therapy, specifically recommended wool flannel in more than 500 documented health readings from the 1930s and 1940s. Today, modern textile research helps explain why. Wool fibers naturally contain lanolin and have a unique surface structure that retains oils more effectively than cotton. A textile science study conducted at the University of Leeds found that wool can absorb up to 30% of its own weight in moisture without feeling wet. Cotton, by comparison, reaches its limit at roughly 7%. As a result, wool flannel can hold substantially more castor oil against the skin and keep it there for a longer period. This extended contact allows the oil to remain where you want it instead of being quickly absorbed by the fabric itself. But there is another detail that may be even more important for older adults. Wool naturally holds heat. It keeps warmth close to the skin and creates a comfortable environment that helps castor oil stay at a temperature that supports absorption during the entire treatment. Earlier, we discussed warming the oil before use. Wool flannel helps keep that warmth in place without needing constant external heat. Research published in the Journal of Thermal Biology found that wool fabrics maintain skin-adjacent temperatures about 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, higher than cotton fabrics over a 4-hour period. When it comes to castor oil, that steady warmth was linked to a 40 to 50% increase in penetration depth. To make a proper castor oil wool flannel pack, start with a piece of unbleached wool flannel, which can be purchased at most health stores or online. Cut it large enough to cover the area you want to treat, then fold it into 3 or 4 layers. Soak the flannel with warm castor oil until it is fully saturated but not dripping. Place it directly on the skin, cover it with plastic wrap to prevent leakage, and then place a warm towel or hot water bottle over the top. Leave the pack in place for 45 to 60 minutes. The same wool flannel pack can typically be reused 25 to 30 times. Store it in a glass container or a sealed plastic bag in the refrigerator between sessions, and add a small amount of fresh castor oil before each use. Cotton simply does not retain, spread, or insulate the oil as effectively as wool. Now let's move to a body area where castor oil may offer major benefits, yet very few people think about using it there. Number 4, apply it over your lymph nodes. Most people associate castor oil with sore joints, muscle discomfort, or dry skin. However, one of its most interesting uses for seniors involves the lymphatic system, and it rarely gets discussed. The lymphatic system works as the body's drainage network. It helps remove waste products, toxins, and excess fluid from tissues. Unlike blood circulation, which is driven by the heart, lymph fluid depends on muscle movement and gravity to move through the body. After age 60, lymphatic function slows considerably. A study published in Aging Cell reported that lymphatic vessel performance declines by roughly 40% between ages 50 and 75. This slowdown can contribute to fluid retention, higher levels of inflammation, reduced immune activity, and the tired, sluggish feeling that many older adults assume is simply part of getting older. Research suggests that castor oil packs placed over major lymphatic areas may help support lymphatic activity. To support the lymphatic system, place a warm castor oil wool flannel pack over the right side of the abdomen, covering the area from the lower ribs down to the hip bone. This region sits above the liver, the body's largest detoxification organ, as well as a large concentration of mesenteric lymph nodes. Lie comfortably on your back, place the pack on the area, cover it with plastic wrap and a warm towel, and relax for 45 to 60 minutes. Now let's talk about a habit that many people overlook before using castor oil, even though it may be limiting the oil's effectiveness. Number 3, exfoliate before applying it. This tip sounds almost too basic to matter, but research suggests otherwise. Applying castor oil without exfoliating first is like trying to water a garden through a thick plastic sheet. Much of what you apply never reaches the area where it can do the most good. As we get older, the skin's natural renewal process slows considerably. Around age 30, skin cells typically renew every 28 to 30 days. By age 65 or 70, that cycle can take anywhere from 45 to 60 days or even longer, according to research published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology. As a result, older adults often have a thicker layer of dead skin cells sitting on the surface. This outer layer, called the stratum corneum, acts as a barrier that topical products must pass through. When castor oil is applied to a thick buildup of dead skin cells, much of the oil remains trapped in that outer layer rather than reaching the living tissue beneath. A 2021 study published in Skin Pharmacology and Physiology found that gentle exfoliation before topical treatments increased active ingredient delivery by as much as 200%. In other words, 3 times more of the active compounds reached the areas where they were needed. For seniors whose skin already absorbs substances less efficiently because of age-related changes, this step is extremely important. Fortunately, proper exfoliation does not require expensive products or aggressive scrubs. Simply dampen a soft washcloth or gentle exfoliating mitt with warm water. Using light circular motions, rub the area where you plan to apply castor oil for about 60 to 90 seconds. A slight pink color is normal and indicates increased blood flow near the surface. Avoid harsh scrubs, chemical exfoliants, and products containing micro beads, especially on aging skin. These can create tiny injuries and increase irritation. A warm washcloth with gentle pressure is enough to remove the buildup of dead skin cells without causing damage. Now let's move on to a technique that surprises many people, including some who regularly use natural remedies. Number 2, combine it with a carrier oil. Many people assume castor oil works best when used straight from the bottle. The common belief is that using it undiluted must make it stronger. However, research suggests otherwise. Castor oil is one of the thickest plant oils commonly available. Its molecular weight is approximately 932 grams per mole, making its molecules significantly larger than those found in many other oils. Coconut oil, for example, has a molecular weight of about 638 grams per mole, while sweet almond oil is roughly 465 grams per mole. Those smaller molecules can move through the skin barrier more easily. More importantly, they may help carry larger castor oil molecules along with them. Researchers refer to this as a co-solvent transport mechanism, and it has been documented in pharmaceutical studies. A 2020 study published in the journal Molecules examined blends of thick plant oils and lighter carrier oils. The researchers found that a mixture containing 60% castor oil and 40% carrier oil improved ricinoleic acid delivery into the subdermis by approximately 150% compared with castor oil alone. The lighter oil essentially acts as a transport vehicle, helping the castor oil reach deeper tissues where it may support circulation, tissue repair, and inflammation management. This can be especially useful for seniors because aging skin naturally becomes less permeable and absorbs substances more slowly. A simple preparation method works well. Combine 3 parts warm castor oil with 2 parts cold-pressed coconut oil or sweet almond oil in a small glass bowl. If using coconut oil, it will quickly melt into the warm castor oil. Stir gently for about 30 seconds until fully blended. The finished mixture feels lighter on the skin, spreads more easily, absorbs more quickly, and leaves behind less residue. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology also reported that blended oil formulations reduced greasy afterfeel by about 40%. That matters because people are more likely to stick with a routine that feels comfortable, and regular use often determines long-term results. Now we have reached the number 1 tip, the method that clinical studies linked to a 400% increase in castor oil's healing potential. Number 1, always choose hexane-free, cold-pressed castor oil. Every tip we've covered up to this point, warming the oil, applying it at the right time, using wool flannel, targeting the lymphatic areas, exfoliating beforehand, and mixing it with carrier oils, depends on this single factor. If the castor oil itself is low quality, those methods will never deliver their best results. The reality is that about 90% of castor oil sold in regular stores is made using a solvent extraction process that relies on a chemical called hexane. Hexane is a petroleum-derived solvent that manufacturers use because it allows them to extract large amounts of oil quickly and cheaply. The downside is that traces of chemicals can remain behind. More importantly, the high temperatures used during processing damage much of the ricinoleic acid content. Ricinoleic acid is the primary compound responsible for many of castor oil's beneficial properties. A 2022 study published in the Journal of the American Oil Chemists Society compared cold-pressed castor oil with hexane-extracted versions. The findings were eye-opening. Cold-pressed oil preserved between 92% and 95% of its ricinoleic acid, while hexane-extracted oil retained only 45% to 60%. In practical terms, that inexpensive bottle from the local drugstore may contain only about half of the active compounds found in a properly produced product. For older adults using castor oil to support joint comfort, reduce inflammation, support the immune system, or improve skin condition, this is a major difference. It can determine whether you see noticeable results or very little change at all. Researchers also tested anti-inflammatory effects in tissue samples. Cold-pressed castor oil lowered inflammatory markers by 78%, while the hexane-extracted version lowered them by just 19%. That's a 4-fold difference in performance from the exact same plant. The only difference was how the oil was processed. So how can you identify a quality bottle? There are 3 important things to look for on the label. First, it should say cold pressed. This means the oil was extracted through mechanical pressure rather than heat-based processing. Second, it should clearly state hexane-free. This confirms that chemical solvents were not used during extraction. Third, look for terms such as unrefined or virgin. These indicate that the oil has not gone through bleaching or deodorizing processes that remove valuable natural compounds. A high-quality castor oil is usually pale golden yellow and has a mild scent with a slightly nutty aroma. If the oil is completely clear, colorless, and has virtually no smell, it has likely been heavily refined and may have lost much of its strength. Additional research published in Food Chemistry in 2021 found that unrefined cold-pressed castor oil contains 35% more vitamin E and 28% more phytosterols than refined alternatives. Both of these compounds provide antioxidant support that becomes increasingly valuable as skin ages. Expect to spend a little more on a premium product. A quality bottle of cold-pressed, hexane-free castor oil often costs between $12 and $20, while a standard drugstore bottle may sell for only $4 to $6. However, when the cheaper option contains less than half the active compounds, it may actually provide less value for the money. When high-quality oil is combined with all the techniques discussed in this video, the results can be very different from what inexpensive, heavily processed oils can offer. And that's it. 7 simple tips that can completely change how castor oil works for seniors. If you enjoyed this video, Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next discussion, where we'll explore more natural approaches created specifically with seniors in mind. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.